There's a list Dana Delaney has always denied, but Hollywood swears it's real. A list written in the long nights of Beverly Hills, in the soft clink of glasses at parties where no paparazzi were ever allowed, and in private encounters only the truly powerful ever knew about. People say it includes everything. A legendary rocker who once set stages on fire. A movie star who lived under bright lights while hiding an entire universe of secrets. And even a politician standing on the edge of a presidential campaign. Some claim that list almost destroyed Dana's career, right at the moment she reached her greatest success. A piece of paper no one has ever seen, yet one that still makes Hollywood tremble over a single question. Who is the name Dana has tried to hide all these years? If you want to know the real story behind that list, the secrets, the shadows, and the things Dana never said, stay with us until the end of this video. And if you love Hollywood stories like this, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another untold secret. Dana Delaney stepped into Hollywood with a kind of beauty that was intelligent, gentle, yet sharp. Like the studio lights that burn long after midnight. Born on March 13, 1956, in New York to an arts-loving intellectual family, Dana grew up surrounded by books, theater, and countless evenings watching Broadway shows with her parents. She attended Phillips Academy and later graduated from Wesleyan University, places that shaped her sharp mind and the quiet confidence that would become her signature. She became the soul of China Beach, a two-time Emmy winner, and the woman Playboy once called one of the most alluring women of the century. Her career stretched out like a reel of 35mm film, warm, refined, and glowing in a way no one could ever replicate. But behind that radiance, there was always a shadow Hollywood never stopped whispering about. People in the industry murmured that Dana kept a secret X list, a list never released, never confirmed, passed around like a dangerous code. A few names on that list, according to those who claim to know, were enough to make some of the most powerful figures in Hollywood go pale at the mere mention. What is the truth? No one really knows. And perhaps it's that very uncertainty that makes her story so captivating. What do you think about this? And let us know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on the stories hidden behind the brightest lights of Hollywood. Treat Williams entered Dana Delaney's life like a soft breeze from her younger years. Warm, gentle, and steady enough for a woman still trying to find her place in Hollywood to lean on. They lived together for 4 years, spending quiet mornings making coffee in their small Los Angeles apartment, and long evenings reading scripts under the soft glow of an old desk lamp. Dana once said, "It was the relationship I learned the most from in my entire life." It was a grown-up kind of love, calm, grounded, and rare in a city that never sleeps. But there were things Dana never fully spoke about. Some close to her say Treat wasn't truly the first love she often mentioned. They claim that before Treat there had been someone else. A man Dana kept hidden, not out of shame, but because the wound was deep enough that she never wanted to revisit it. The only difference was this. Treat was the first man she trusted enough to step into the light with her. And sometimes, the choice to go public speaks louder than any confession ever could. Hollywood in the 1980s was like a river of neon light. Everything moved fast, from roles that came and went in a blink to romances that barely began before disappearing after a single premiere night. And Dana Delaney was no exception to that current. After Treat Williams, she stepped into 2 brief but fully confirmed relationships, Michael O'Keefe and James Woods. 2 very different men, two completely separate orbits, yet both drawn to Dana. The woman with the listening eyes, and the kind of intelligence that made anyone feel more interesting in her presence. Those romances were quick, quiet, and clean. Like musical notes that flash by in the soundtrack of a film running at full speed. But not every romance was allowed to step into the light. Some say that during that time, Dana was also involved with a very famous actor. A man whose face appeared everywhere, from red carpets to blockbuster posters. But because he was married, every trace of their connection was erased with just a few phone calls. No articles, no photos, no proof. Only one lingering question, drifting like smoke backstage. Who was that man? In the mid-'80s, when Hollywood glowed under that hazy neon light, both glamorous and unreal, Dana Delaney stepped into a completely different era of her life. Rebellious, young, and hungry to experiment. That was when Dave Holmes appeared. A musician with messy hair, a gravelly voice, and a heart that beat strictly to the rhythm of rock and roll. Their relationship had no rules, no long-term plans. Just nights spent listening to music until sunrise, spontaneous road trips, and moments Dana once described as the kind of freedom only youth can understand. In Dave's arms, she wasn't an actress hunting for her next role. She was a woman learning to live impulsively, passionately, and without fear of being wrong. But behind all that laughter and wildness, there was always a darker note. A musician who once played with Dave whispered that there was a song, a heartbreakingly beautiful ballad that made the entire studio fall silent, written just for Dana, a song hinting at betrayal, at an invisible crack between the two of them. No one knows what really happened. Dave never explained, and Dana chose silence. Maybe because some sorrows are more beautiful when they remain unnamed. When Don Henley came into Dana Delaney's life, everything shifted. This was no longer one of those fleeting Hollywood romances. It was a real storm. Don, the soul of the Eagles, carried with him the weight of years spent in rock and roll, and the loneliness of an artist who had been at the top for far too long. And Dana, young, intelligent, and craving something more intense than the gentle loves she'd known, was swept right into it. Their 3 years together were filled with late nights in recording studios, spontaneous trips on tour, and long, unfiltered conversations about art, loneliness, and the steep price of fame. Dana would later call it the most beautiful but chaotic time of her life, a love that was both exhilarating and exhausting. Fans of the Eagles quietly claim Don once wrote an unreleased demo about a woman who was brilliant but dangerous. No one has ever confirmed it, but the speculation has never stopped. With a love that wild and consuming, almost anything could be true. On the set of China Beach, in those long shooting days thick with dust, sweat, and the heavy heat of studio lights, Dana Delaney found something rare in the entertainment world. Understanding John Sacred Young, writer, producer, and the creative heartbeat of the series, saw more than her talent. He saw the real woman behind the makeup and costumes. They started with late-night conversations about scripts, which slowly turned into evenings spent over coffee, the warm yellow light casting two silhouettes leaning closer and closer. By 1990, when they walked on stage together to accept the Golden Globe for China Beach, people whispered that the way they looked at each other outshone the trophy in their hands. But Hollywood always keeps its suspicious silences. Some crew members say Dana and John once talked about marriage, something she had never discussed with any man before. But then, like a sudden cut in a film, everything stopped. Dana discovered something, a detail no one ever explained and no one dared to speculate on. All anyone knows is that after that moment, the shared dream between them went silent forever. Henry Journey came into Dana Delaney's life at a very different moment. After she had weathered emotional storms and begun to realize she needed calm more than fireworks. With his quiet confidence and the refined presence of a classically trained actor, Henry felt like a rare moment of stillness in Dana's constantly moving world. During their 3 years together, they appeared at events as a couple defined by subtle beauty and depth. Dana once said Henry made her feel safe in a way that's incredibly rare. But Hollywood always keeps the things no one sees. People close to them say Henry may have been the only man Dana ever truly considered marrying. But Henry feared losing his freedom and the creative space he saw as essential to his life. And when one person is ready while the other isn't, the relationship ended just as gently as it began. Amid the countless soft or fiery Hollywood romances, there is one memory Dana Delaney has always avoided, the one involving Robert Blake. They had only a single date, seemingly harmless, but to Dana it was an experience she later described as frightening and something I never want to revisit. There was no argument, no drama, just the way Blake looked at her, the way he spoke, and the heavy air in the room that made Dana want to leave as quickly as possible. She never shared details, only one brief comment that made it clear. Some dates are meant to be forgotten. Years later, when Robert Blake appeared on the evening news, this time connected to a shocking murder case, that memory returned like a shadow. Some bloggers murmured that Dana had escaped by inches, that if the date had lasted a few hours longer, things might have turned out differently. There's no proof, no confirmation, just rumor. But it's enough to make fans shiver and understand why Dana has stayed silent ever since. When the 1990s arrived, it was as if Dana Delaney decided to rewrite herself from the inside out. No longer the classic American TV beauty, she veered onto a bolder, sharper, and far riskier path. Exit to Eden was the first dramatic turn, one so striking that her mere appearance in the film made Hollywood hold its breath. Then came Live Nude Girls, followed by her emotionally layered queer roles on the Broadway stage. Dana wasn't just acting. She was shedding every mold placed on her, becoming an emblem of sexual freedom and a powerful ally to the LGBTQ+ community. These roles made her more beloved than ever, but they also placed her in the center of heated debate. And within that debate, whispers began to surface. Some outlets murmured that Dana wasn't only playing queer characters, but was exploring in real life to understand them better. No evidence, no confirmation. Dana has never commented on it. Yet the rumor clung to her for years, drifting behind her like a quiet shadow trailing every performance. Maybe because Dana always left people wondering, was she simply acting? Or was she finally living a part of herself she had never dared to reveal? At 67, Dana Delaney stands in Hollywood as a rare exception. Unmarried, without children, yet carrying a sense of peace most people spend a lifetime trying to find. She once said, "Marriage doesn't define my happiness." For Dana, happiness lives in freedom, in the ability to move through life at her own rhythm. But Hollywood, as always, keeps looking for another explanation. Whispers suggest that Dana chose a life of independence because of a name on that old secret list. A man she never revealed. Someone she once loved so deeply that nothing ever truly replaced it. And when that relationship ended, it left a space no marriage could fill. No one knows who that man was. And sometimes, Dana's silence says more than any confession ever could. If you have your own theory about this mystery man, share it in the comments below. And if you enjoy Hollywood's untold backstories, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next episode.